It is a tough week for President Obama and the Obama administration, with issues with the IRS targeting conservatives, the Justice Department collecting a news agency's phone records, and renewed interest in the Benghazi attack.
And a lot of people questioning the credibility right now of the administration and the actions of the administration. Our political expert Michael Yockey joining us now. Good morning. Of these three issues everyone's talking about, which do you think is the biggest problem and the most damaging for the Obama administration?
Well, in politics, when I was in office, we always said you never want to pick fight with someone who buys ink by the barrel, in which case I think the AP DOJ subpoena is probably the one that has the most potential damage, because it's the one that goes straight at the heart of what all these journalists do in D.C., which is their job. So I think for the Obama administration, that's something that they need to figure out how to deal with, and deal with quickly, because when you look at all three of them, as you call them, the lying, prying, spying, whatever it is, the Benghazi one is pretty much a faux scandal. Most of this information has been out there again and again. When you look at what the polls show, people still don't have that much interest in the whole Benghazi issue. So they've got to take it all out and deal with them one-on-one, because the problem is, if they don't do it, then you create a narrative of a president who was out of touch on Benghazi, was out of touch with the IRS, and has said he was out of touch with what's going on with the DOJ Associated Press subpoena poll. That is something where you do not want to be in, because it lends a narrative that basically you're a president who's checked out, and that's not good, especially for a president who won because people liked him better than the other guy. And if all of a sudden you get this impression this guy isn't doing the job, or is not watching the ball, that starts to go down.
So there's a cumulative effect here.
Absolutely.
And are they doing a good job at that, at getting this to overtake the other headlines? Because it's not the most political headline time of year.
They're doing a horrible job on it. I mean, you have stories come out this year that the deficit is going down faster than expected, which is a good thing. It's good. You see Wall Street is reacting to that. But for the press, this is a feeding frenzy right now, because the communication staff of the White House is not doing a good job of parsing it out, explaining it, dividing it up, and setting it aside. Benghazi, they should be able to deal with. But the IRS thing is another issue. That's something where the perception of government gone wrong is something that the Democrats, and especially the Obama administration, does not want to see continue, because coming up this year is the implementation of Obamacare. And if you have an idea of a bureaucracy gone wrong, or a bureaucracy that's just doing its own thing, that doesn't bode well for how people are thinking about Obamacare.
But wait, because there's another theory of the more attention you give to something, the worse. So maybe the idea is we're not going to, the Obama administration, we're not going to keep bringing this up and addressing it, like you said, address it, put it away, because it kind of lends validity and to it. And
on this one, I would say,
how do you make it go away?
I think they tried to ignore it, or they tried to distance themselves from it. That's not working. It's not going to work on this one. With the IRS, it goes to a fundamental belief of the First Amendment protections, the idea that government should not be intruding into you like that. They have to fight back. There's a way to do it. 501c4s are not a gift from the government. It is something that you want. It is something that is a test you have to pass. There is a narrative that they can put out there that says, when you look at the fact that in the 2012 election, conservative 501c4s spent $256 million on political ads, and liberal groups only spent 35. According to the IRS, they had to have raised at least over $500 million. Did they really do that? Is that the subject of proper inquiry? Absolutely. They have not put that out there. The AP thing, though, is much bigger. I think the AP thing is something where the president has to get control of this, and we forget sometimes. We think about a lot of people forget about history. Nixon. People still think that Nixon had control of all the government. Nixon couldn't get his own audit taken off track by the IRS. He had to fire an attorney general because he wouldn't do what he wanted to do. Nevertheless, there's still this perception the president controls everything, and he's got to do something about the AP scandal to get AP and all its friends in the White House press corps off his ankle.
And with Benghazi, there hasn't been a lot of new information, and there's been a lot of finger-pointing at a California congressman from Southern California, Darrell Issa, saying that he's just doing this for political gain. Is there any kind of traction? It seems to be backfiring, the finger-pointing.
The only thing about Benghazi is they had a career diplomat who came out with some information. Is there other information that can come out? Yes. The emails, pretty much a non-story. If they decide to go after Hillary, that'll be interesting, because I think that the thing they don't want to do is put Hillary on the stand against them.
All right, thank you, Michael. Thanks for your insight.